is twofold. One part is to introduce the folks who will be giving the evaluations for the speeches that were given. The second half of my job will be to give an overall evaluation of the meeting. We will start with the evaluations for our speakers. I would ask that you applaud when they approach the lectern, but I would ask that you hold your applause at the end when they complete their thoughts, their feedback. With that, we will get started with our first evaluator, who is Mr. Jerod Powers. He will be giving feedback to Mr. Chris Middleton on his icebreaker. Please help me welcome Jerod.
It truly is a great day at NorthJax Toastmasters. I love coming here and seeing someone such as Chris Middleton get up here in front of this group and give their icebreaker speech. To stand in front of people that you do not know and to articulate a message, to convey a message to people. More people fear dying. Or actually, excuse me, forgive me. More people fear public speaking than actually fear dying. But I want to first commend you, Chris, on the fact that you are one of the few people who have ever bought into Toastmasters sight unseen. I mean, this gentleman, we had his check and his application before he'd ever attended one of our meetings. Which is a reminder, dues are due. You did great, Chris. Have you ever attended a Toastmasters meeting before?
Well,
never.
The one here. Yeah.
Other than this one?
Yeah. Came once.
When you came up to the podium, you came out from behind it. You already were naturally relaxed. Your gestures showed confidence in your subject matter, which, when we're talking about your icebreaker, the icebreaker is the speech where you should be most comfortable with because it's about yourself. I felt that we did get to know you, where you're from, and some of your life experiences, which was good. How much time did you spend preparing this presentation?
I didn't calculate how much time it was.
Just a rough estimate.
Maybe 2 hours.
2 hours. Well, when you came up here, it was as if you had spent 2 hours. You didn't come up here and give us something that you just threw off the cuff, or you spent time in developing this. And as you go further, I want to encourage you to use, when we get you your manual here, to use the manual to develop some of the points. Each speech has objectives, and those objectives, develop them, because you have some natural skills, but you want to develop those, such as your vocal variety, your eye projection, look people in the eye. That was great. The one thing that Toastmasters will help you with too is developing that opening, body, and closing. It didn't seem like your speech said, here is where we are, this is where we're going, and this is how we're going to get there, which you'll develop that. What I really loved about this presentation, and anyone in Toastmasters will tell you, there were no notes. Your icebreaker is the only speech that actually allows you to use, encourages you to use notes. So that took the cake for me. Welcome to our club, onward and upward. Madam Evaluator.
I was trying to get you to hold it. I was trying. My best. I was saying, hold it. Thank you, Jerod, for those comments. Our second evaluation will be given by Fran Powers, and she will be giving feedback to Gloria Citron.
Good evening once again, my fellow Toastmasters and guests. As your mentor, Ms. Gloria, it is my esteemed honor to evaluate you on your 8th speech. 2 more speeches and you are there. CC coming up. Your objectives tonight were to select a speech subject that allows you to use 2 or more visual aids, select visual aids that are appropriate for your message and the audience, and display the visual aids correctly with ease and confidence. I believe you met your objectives this evening. First of all, your speech purpose. From the get-go, your introduction, you told us right away why you selected this subject. It's going back to school day today, and you're thinking, you're concerned about our youth. Your subject was very appropriate for me, most especially because just last week I was watching a documentary about the Columbine killing. You know, this happened years ago, but it's still happening nowadays. And being back to school, your subject was very appropriate. Did your visual aid help you understand and remember the speaker's point? Absolutely. First of all, I would like to commend you for your bravery of using the PowerPoint as your visual aid. Because to tell you the truth, a lot of our members here in this club try to do this, and sometimes we don't have any luck of getting the PowerPoint started, we don't have the equipment, and maybe you're taking Scott out to dinner or something. Because you did an excellent job, making sure that this thing worked. So very brave on using the PowerPoint presentation. At the end though, I was looking for another visual aid. I would have liked to see a handout so we could take it, especially with our members who have children, would be aware of all this information. You gave us a lot of information, and some of the slides, I think, there were a couple of slides that I had a hard time reading because of the font was small. There was a slide with all the statistics, and I believe the slide about the protective factors was also a little font. That's why I had a hard time looking at it. Also, I would recommend on your points where you pointed about the different signs, if you could just pick out like the 5 highest points instead of giving us all of it, that would have been easier for us to understand, and it will stick better to your audience. Giving a lot of information is a lot within a 5 to 7 minute speech. Speaking of the time, I would also encourage you to make sure you watch that clock, because 30 seconds is all you have after that red light comes on. Also, next time I would recommend maybe moving this table to the side and being closer to your visual aid. Because you were here and your visual aid was here, and at times I was looking at the audience, sometimes you were getting stuck on your presentation instead of you. Remember, when you use visual aids, your visual aids should enhance your speech. You are still the one giving the message, not your visual aid. So just watch out for that. I like your speech organization, and I like the fact that you did not have any technical problems. And a master evaluator.
I'm not a mean woman, but I like to hands over there. Our 3rd evaluation will be given by Joyce Thomas, and she will be giving feedback to Mr. John Toohey. Please help me welcome Joyce.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Mr. Toomer's speech was to create an original story with a lesson on taking a lesson from another story. The story was to be entertaining, and he was to use no notes or scripts, which he did. He told it without looking at notes or reading from any notes. One of his objectives was the story presented simply and clearly, and yes, it was very clear, simple, to the point. how did the speaker capture and hold my interest? We started off talking about his neighbor and the dog named Rufus. And Rufus was in charge, not the neighbor, because Rufus had a mind of his own. That was to me funny because most of the time when you walk a dog, they are usually in charge. You're just following along for the ride. I don't know what type of dog Rufus was, but it reminded me of that pit bull that my son had in my backyard. We don't have an understanding. He growls at me and barks at me every time I go out my back door. Then it asked you, how did the speaker use vocal varieties to add to the story? I didn't see any vocal gestures or anything, but you did do the hand. So I like the fact that you kept your hands going and gestured as to what you were talking about. All in all, it was a very sharp story, but it was a good and an interesting story. And like Horace said, you are getting better. You're not as nervous as you used to be. So I would say to keep the work up, keep doing better, make your stories just a little bit longer, a little more with a plot to it, so I know where I would know where you're going. I just want to say you're doing good. Keep it up. Thank you.
If I could, we'll get the times of the 3 evaluations.
Yes, Jerod's evaluation was 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Francis was 3 minutes and 41 seconds. And the last evaluation was 2 minutes and 13 seconds.
Thank you. We have a disqualification due to time. I was going to say, even when she told you, watch the time. When the red light came on, I was watching her time. If you would, please vote between Jerod and Joyce for Best Evaluator. And then Leo will pick up those evaluations or those votes. While he's doing that, I will give a brief overview of the meeting. We did get started a little late, which pushed us off schedule. We did get going and got a little slow start, but we got on track. Horace provided us with an agenda, which is not our typical agenda. So this was a little off because we don't have our times and how things flow. If folks do not have access to the agenda and it is your turn to be Toastmaster, please reach out to one of the other members so that you can get the appropriate agenda. It's always good for our visitors and everyone to be involved in saying the mission statement of the club, and unfortunately, we did not have that available for everyone to participate. Our table topics masters, you did a great job on the short time that you had. It's always a good thing to have an existing member go first, but you knew you only had time for a couple. So you used it the best you could to make sure that we still had table topics. And thank you for being prepared for those. Overall, we've had another great time. I look forward to serving you again in the near future. I will return control of the lectern to our Toastmaster, Mr. Horace Freeman.